Hello, everyone. It's Brother Burger. Welcome to your very first data demo. Now, these activities are intended to be short and punchy. I want you to have experience just touching the buttons on how to do the different statistics or data management techniques that we're learning about that week. So, in this very first data demo, we're just going to practice getting to know PSPP a bit, how to get data into it, and how to navigate it. So hopefully you already have PSPP downloaded on your computer. If not, you can access those files on Canvas. So go ahead and let's double click on PSPP, open it up, and let's see what we have. So here is PSPP. Notice that on the bottom left here, we have two different views that we can toggle, variable view and data view. We will use these quite a bit. Variable view probably more often. So variable view, each row represents a variable. So a question that was like asked in a survey. And data view, each row represents a case or a person who responded to that survey. So in data view, we can see individual case information. Variable view, we'll be able to see the variable information. But it's really boring right now because we don't have anything in it. So let's go ahead and get some data into PSPP. Now in the reading, it gives you way more technical detail than you ever need to know in this class on how to get data into PSPP. But I want you to kind of know it just in case you ever run into a situation where you have to. Knowing how to get data into these programs is super important. All right, so let's go to Canvas. And for our intents and purposes, the data sets that we need for this class, they're all in here. So go ahead, click on modules. It should take you there right away. And sorry, I have my screen resolution really big. Yours probably won't look so weird. But let's scroll down past the welcome stuff and into course resources. And down here in the PSPP download assignment data sets, this is where you can find the link to download PSPP if you haven't, and the data sets that we'll be using in class. We'll use this P1 right at the very end, but for most of our classroom assignments and examples in class, we'll use the 2022 General Social Survey. So go ahead, click that link. It'll take you to yet another link and download the data set. Now, the first time that you download a data set, PSPP can sometimes be a little funny if you just try to open it right from your downloads. So what I want you to do before trying to do that, I want you to go to PSPP and let's go to File, Open, go to your downloads. There's our data set. Click it, and let me show you exactly what it shows. It'll just have the open button right there. So go ahead, click the data set, click open, and there we go. And there is all of our data. So remember how I told you variable view, this is showing the variables. So each row here is a different question or set of data for respondents. And in data view, each row here or case, this is a person. So for example, if we were to go down a bit, see like here with the variable age. So here, variable age, person two, they are 26. Where's everyone else's ages? Oh, there we go. Okay, we had some missing data. So see here how they don't have data. That means their ages are missing. These people did not answer the age question. But down here, like person 145, right? They were 28. Person 166, they were 33, and so forth. All right. So let's cover just a few things. We talked about how to open data. Now let's talk about what we see on this screen here. So we have variable, right? This is just telling us the number that the variables are listed in. This is not necessarily fixed in stone. If you were to click name and say you want to double click on this and sort by name, it's going to change these numbers. So you don't necessarily want to resort your data. It can make it hard to find stuff. But here in variable name, this is the name that PSPP uses to recognize variables. And there's a couple naming conventions that are important. One, notice how none of these have spaces in them. And they all start with letters. You cannot have a variable name that has spaces or starts with a number or has special characters in it. So, see how all of them are like nat race, nat arms, grass. Isn't that funny? Should marijuana be made legal? Some intern had a really good time with that one. Um, if you do want to put a space into one, you would have to do something like this, where you have an underscore. Okay, so that's the variable name. These are important because this is, again, how PSPP recognizes variables. So if we were to tell PSPP to run a frequency on something, we would need to know the variable name. Type, this is telling you what kind of variable or how it's kind of coded in the data. Now, a lot of times you'll see this just say numeric. Let's see if we can find one. No, most of the variables in the GSS are numeric. Every now and then you might have an open-ended comment, and that will be listed as string. Why string? I don't know. It's just the word that they used for variables that don't have numbers. So when we say, a string variable, you would see something like text, right? Where would have that? All right. So type, width, decimal, you don't really need to mess with those a whole lot. Width, that just tells you like how many data points there are, how many values or digits there are in the responses. Decimal, this can be useful. You'll do an example like we did with the wizard data with GPA, where it's nice to bump those decimals up. If you take them down, it will round the data. Now, variable label, this is where we can have a little bit more information on what the variable is measuring. But even here, we got to be really careful because, like the example in the book where it talks about the variable nat drug, let's see if I can find it quick. We're getting there. Nat drug, dealing with drug addiction. This variable is not measuring whether the respondent is dealing with a drug addiction, even though that may be the assumption that we make. So it's always important to go to the code book, or in the case of the GSS, we can go to the GSS Data Explorer. So let's go there now real quick. So you can find it by just typing GSS Data Explorer. Go to the website. And the GSS Data Explorer is a really nifty tool. You can do some like online analysis. It's really limited. But the best thing is this is like an online code book of the GSS. So you can click here on search variables. And I'm just going to type in the keyword nat drug. And I can find the variable right here. And it tells me exactly what the word or the question wording was. We are faced with many problems in this country. None can be solved easily or inexpensively. Are we spending too much tool on dealing with drug addiction? So it is definitely not asking about the respondent's own drug addictions. Over here in value labels, this is important because if you notice here in data view, we just have a bunch of numbers. And if we were to look at something like, I'm going to find a variable here. Let's scroll up a bit. Let's go to variable 60. So this is the respondent's race. Now, if we come over here to value labels, this tells us how the data is coded. So in this variable, 1 means they're white, 2 means they're black, and 3 means they're other. Now, this is very important to know because at the end of the day, those numbers that we see here for race, I mean, we could have coded it the opposite if we wanted. There's nothing that says that 1 has to be white or 2 black or 3 other. So it's important for us to know exactly what those numbers represent. So this is like our key to know what the numbers are. All right. Now, the last thing I want to show you here is a little bit on missing values. But I thought it would be fun to first look at a really weird variable. So this is what you need to follow along doing, and what you're going to be turning in at the end. So I want you to come here to Analyze, go to Descriptive Statistics, and over to Frequencies. Okay. And this is stuff that we're going to review a lot more in the future. I mean, there's a whole chapter just on frequencies, but this is just to show you something. Now you'll see here in the list, we have the variable names or the variable labels, excuse me. This is not how PSPP will search for stuff. So it's easier for us to right click on the list and uncheck prefer variable labels. And now we have our variable names. Sweet. Okay. Now I want you to click anywhere on the list just once. And then on your keyboard, I want you to type EVSTRAY. Evstray. So this is a question asking if the respondent has ever had sex with someone other than their spouse while married. People will resist telling you their income, but they have no problem telling you about their infidelity. It is a weird thing. So let's click on this variable and let's throw it over here into the variable list. All right. Now, I'm going to make this small. I want you to click OK. So we have evstray in the variable list and then click OK. Whoa, what happened? Nothing, it seems. But don't worry, we actually did have something happen. Our output window appeared. So if you look at the bottom of your screen or wherever, you have a new window defined, output, and you can find it by clicking here in PSPP on Windows and then clicking on output. Here is our output. Okay, hey, we ran some data already. So let's just look here real quick. So we have the valid number of cases. So we had 2,559 respondents answer the question. 1,590 didn't. And usually that's because they only ask this question of like a subset of respondents. They'll have like a ballot A, B, and C. Anyway, so let's look down here at our percentages. Okay, so we had, and let's look at the valid percent. We're not going to use this percent because look, it's including all those missing cases. We don't want that one. So what percent of people said that they had cheated on their spouse? 7.8%. What percent said no? 40.1. Oh, but then this is weird. Never married, 52.1. What? You can't cheat on your spouse if you're not married. And that is a problem because they did ask this question of every single person who took the GSS. They didn't like filter it if they already knew they were married. So every single person got this question, and every single person could choose one of these three answers. Well, if you're never married, you can't really cheat on your spouse. So we got to fix this somehow. We're going to make all respondents who said never married missing. So let's minimize this. Let's go back to our data here. Oh, we got to find our variable evstray. Okay, so an easy way to find your variables, click on this button here. This is jump to variable. See how it's jumping? Jump. So you'll click on that. And this is kind of like that frequency list, right? Where we have the variable labels, but we need the variable names. So let's right click, uncheck, prefer variable labels. Let's find evstray. I just clicked on the list and typed EVS, took me there, and then click go to. There we go. So it's variable 508 if you're having a hard time finding it. So when we look at value labels, we see that 1 is yes, 2 is no, and 3 never married. So we need to make these people missing. But we don't want to like delete them from our data set. So an easier way is to use the missing values column. So using the missing values column here, we can click on the box here, and you kind of have to click on the right side of the box, kind of a weird PSPP thing. And we get a window that looks like this. So we have three options: no missing values, discrete missing values, or range plus one optional discrete missing value. We want to use this one here, discrete missing values. And if we remember the values on evstray, one means yes, they have cheated on their spouse, two means no, and three means never married. So we need to make value three missing. So we'll put three in this box and then click OK. And now look at your output. Nothing happened because your output doesn't change. It's a receipt. It's like one of those old school calculators that prints on the receipt, right? Just because we changed the missing value over in PSPP doesn't mean it changed what we had already done. So we have to rerun this frequency. So let's go back to PSPP, go to Analyze, Descriptive Frequencies, click OK. F-stray should already be in there still. And now let's look at our output. Oh man, it looks even worse now. But this is more accurate. So see here, the never married, this is now included in the missing box. So now we have a better idea on the percent that said yes, they have cheated on their spouse, and those that hadn't. And it's a shocking 16.2%. So now that we have that completed, we have the two frequencies, the one where never married is not missing and the other where it is. And this is what you're going to be turning in to show you completed the assignment. So I'm just making it a little smaller. So this is what you need to do. I want you in your output to go to File, Export, save it wherever is easiest for you, and save it as a PDF. Give it a name. So like data demo one, not demp, demo one. Go ahead, click save. And now when you go to your desktop, you'll have this here, data demo number one. Open it up, and this is what you should see. All right, and then this is what you will submit on Canvas. You get full credit if you just followed along and did the video. All right, everyone, good job, and I look forward to seeing you in class.